Okay, hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Moody and we're going to be doing the clothing today for 2B. I was originally going to record this as a kind of tutorial to talk along with and you know have you guys maybe try and follow along, but like an idiot I obviously didn't set up my recording equipment properly and I literally recorded about 1 hour of the whole thing. So it'd be a bit of a waste of time just to put an hour's worth of audio kind of out of context as well in the middle of it all. So we're going to record this as a voiceover to a speed sculpt. I've sorted it out. I have sorted it out. I know what the problem was. It was just silliness basically on my part that I overlooked because I bought a new PC. And I just didn't set the audio up correctly. So yeah, that's why this is a time lapse rather than an actual sort of tutorial that I've been doing. But anyway, that being said, one of the first things we're going to do, we need to get the base meshes together for the actual sculpt on the clothing. So I've duplicated the body and sort of smoothed out the area between the boobs there so that we've got like what looks like a top, and I can sort of sculpt off of that and cut out of that. A lot of what we're going to be doing right now is going to be basically just finding the shapes for the clothing that we want and making sure that we can get a decent extraction out of it. So you know, I'll do it in stages. I'll try and, because again, while I'm doing it, I want to make sure that it looks all right once I've extracted it. And some things might need to be like slightly thicker clothing, like the boots for example. So I didn't want to extract it all in one mask and then have to separate it out and then be stuck with certain sort of depths or thicknesses, if you want, of clothing. So excuse me, I do it in separate stages. Like I think here I'm going to do the sort of boots at the moment. I think I've already extracted the stockings area, so now we're going to extract the boots area. I think we're going to do the same for the arms here. Something I do later on, because she's wearing gloves as well, I don't actually extract a mask for that. What I do is, I do extract a mask for it. So yeah, that's kind of not valid now. So and again, like I said, the same thing's going to be happening throughout most of this. I have talked about this in other tutorials that I've done, just about how I sort of get the base meshes together and things I do. So we're using the same base mesh that we just extracted to make the flat area for the clothing there. We're just going to cut a piece of mesh, extract a piece of mesh out of that and use it to cut out the shape. And then again, a lot of this, for now at least, is going to be kind of masking off areas, trying my best to use the reference images that I've been able to find and create the shapes of some of these patterns that are in there. Something I'll have to think about later is how to sort of work on that thin sort of see-through bit of material that goes underneath that pattern. I haven't really thought about that at the moment, because on the actual sculpt it's literally just like an open space, and I'm not really sure how I'd have to deal with that if I was going to print this and paint it eventually. So that's just something to think about, something that I'm not overly worried about it right now, because you know, it's still just a 3D model and I could probably put whatever I wanted there. So it's just something that I've got to kind of think about when I'm doing these things, in case I ever get to the point where I can print them off. But yeah, again, we're going to use the mask tool to just mask out some of these patterns as best as I can, because again, I haven't got a real solid reference for this that I can just kind of trace over. So I'm just using the image on the left there of the back pattern and trying to get it as close as possible. And then I think, again, because we didn't take out enough mesh here with the extraction, with the boolean mesh. So I masked that off and I pushed that back in. And then I think we're going to start adding detail to the clothing here. So yeah, we're going to start cleaning this up and adding more sort of creases and just kind of like where these stitch lines might be. I'm not really sure how much detail I'm going to go into on this, like in terms of, you know, adding all the stitching in. It really kind of just depends how I feel about it when we get to that stage, because I sculpt this up to almost finished, but I don't add tons and tons of detail. What I'm planning on doing with that is doing a second video where I kind of add the detail, like, you know, the pattern for the leather material, some sort of like pores and stuff like that on the skin, and and then we're going to go through and paint it. So I was going to try and do all of that in one sort of like long, decent video. And then to finish it off, because I haven't really thought about a base for it, I'll probably do one final video where we sculpt up a base for it and paint it. I might just speed sculpt or sculpt it out and talk through it, and then maybe speed paint it at the end using just speeding up the footage, because it's been a long series, and it's been good to kind of relax a little bit in some ways, but in other ways I'm sort of like kind of need to get this done so I can just get back to sculpting things that I want to sculpt, rather than trying to focus on teaching or helping newbies out. You know what I mean? It's I just don't think I'm a very good teacher. So yeah, we'll sort of probably move away from this a little, and I'll go back to putting out maybe a couple or a few sculpts every month or so. But yeah, we're just adding detail to this. One of the things I do when I'm adding detail to clothing is I try and find areas where it's going to pinch, like because her arm's pushed back, it would sort of like crease up the material on the clothing, and it would sort of pinch it together in vertical sort of creases. But where she's sort of pulling and twisting, it's like from her hip around to her stomach and like around on her right sort of lateral muscle, it would all be sort of pulling and twisting from there. So it's kind of what I do. There are some points where it's kind of tricky, and I'm trying to just do my best to make it look alright. I wasn't overly happy with the left side of the top portion of this when I finished with it, but it does look okay. So I'm not, I don't hate it. I just kind of, got to a point where I'd spent hours and hours and hours sculpting creases in clothing, and I was kind of getting bored of it. So I just threw down some stuff. As you can see here, I actually move off of the jumper and onto something else, just to be working on a different type of fabric, because the leather fabric doesn't crease quite as much as the cloth fabric, and I was getting bored sculpting just these thick chunks of clothing and creasing and stuff. So I moved on to the lower portion, which is more of a sort of cottony silk fabric. But yeah, once we get through this top, it will we'll go. I think we move on to the boots. Once we've done with the top half of this, we actually move on to the shoulders, which are kind of big, fluffy, well, not fluffy, but just poofy shoulder pad areas, and we'll start sculpting that up. And then we've got the leaves to go in as well. So at the moment I'm just flicking through it, looking at bits that need to be cleaned up before I move off to start sculpting up the shoulders. But yeah, I'm happy with the sculpt. I like it. I don't know if I love it, but it's definitely a good sculpt. Anatomically, I'm kind of pleased with it, but I do feel like and again, this might seem silly to say because it took so long for the blooming video to come out, but I feel like there are parts of the clothing sculpt where I kind of rushed it a little bit and just wanted to see it done, to be honest. But I think we're all a little bit guilty of that when a project starts to take longer than you expect, or you start running out of time to do it, because there are other things I've got to think about, and there are times where I can't just be sculpting all day every day to get videos out. So that's kind of another reason that I haven't been putting so many videos onto my channel as of late. But like I said in my previous video, I'm not gonna not do it. I'm just taking a bit of a break, easing off for a little bit, reevaluating, reassessing, and on top of that, I do have other things that I've got to think about. So that is what I'll say about that. But I am going to keep putting videos out, guys. So anyone that's been following me and anyone that enjoys my work, there are still going to be videos coming. I'm kind of in a bit of a weird spot at the moment, and sculpting videos and things like that isn't really a top priority of mine right this very second. But I think I do love doing it, and sculpting something that I've really made I feel like I've got good at it anyway, so I'll always be sculpting, and I'll always be doing YouTube. I'm not going to be not doing YouTube. I'm just saying that if for a little while videos don't come out, then don't lose hope. I'm just busy with other stuff, because like I said, as a job, I'm an animator. So I've spent a reasonable amount of my time sort of sculpting and just working on this channel, and that whole time I've had other stuff to do as well. But there's certain things come up where you're like, I kind of need to focus on this. So And I don't think I'm the only artist that has that situation. But yeah, so what we've sort of done here, now that we've got all of the clothing at the top sculpted and the sleeves sculpted, I start moving on, just because I was getting bored of sculpting clothing, I start moving on to the sort of fatty areas where the clothing might be pinching on the leg here, for example, and just adding a bit more weight to that to make it feel a little bit more realistic. I do notice, however, that underneath the top strap of the legging, while I'm sculpting this, I'm looking at the leg like, oh, there probably should be a bit of a bulge of fat underneath that as well. And that, like, at the very end of the video, at the very end of the video, I sort of go back and just do that and put that in, just because I was looking at it as I was working, and I was like, it looks a bit weird without that. It's like the stockings are a bit more thick material than they probably should be, so I kind of go back and do all of that in a little bit. Excuse me. I am trying to talk for as much as possible as well, because if I can help it, I don't want to cut music in and out, because I know that some people find that quite annoying. So what I'll probably do, and anybody that's watching this or has been watching this probably already knows this because it's been going on for 10 minutes, I'll probably just put a drum and bass track or something in the background, low volume, so anybody that wants to watch it and maybe hear what I'm saying, even though it's not really of any consequence, they can sort of put the subtitles on and turn it down a little, and just listen to their own tracks. But yeah, again, it's one of those things that if I'm ever at a point where I can be monetized, I'll definitely spend a bit more time choosing different tracks to go through the videos. And it's probably more of a bother or more of an issue for people that have to watch an hour-long video as well. And then if it's the same song going over and over, I'm sure that I could see how that would get annoying. So, this being only like a less than 20-minute video, I don't think it's going to matter too much. And like I said, if I speak for as long as possible, I'll have to cut the sound out very, very infrequently, or turn the volume of the music down very infrequently. So here with the gloves, what I ended up doing is I added a paint layer just to sort of mark out where some of these stitching lines or these join lines between the two different materials were, because the bottom half of the glove is leather and the top half is fabric. I feel like it's fabric. So I just drew out the lines on the glove, and then sort of using the crease tool, I followed that edge around to get the pattern on the glove. So yeah, we'll paint all that in later. And again, it really depends how much my PC can handle. But I might add some of that stitching detail in. I'm not really 100% sure yet. I haven't fully decided. But there'll be some details I add in, like the skin texture, the texture on the leather. I'll probably add some of that, just so it doesn't feel smooth and flat, But yeah, overall, I'm not really too sure how far I'm going to go with that yet, because it's already like 7 or 8 million polys on this thing, 7 or 8 million points. So it really depends. I've got the PC I bought does have more RAM in it, so I'm hoping I'll be able to do a bit more. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'll see how I feel about it. One other thing that I do want to say is that I have actually got a seat on a ZBrush account, so I could, in theory, chuck this into ZBrush and add the detail there. But I mean, this is a Nomad sculpting channel. I don't know if it's something that any of my early subscribers or any of my early followers would really be bothered about seeing. So let me know what you think. If it's something that you guys wouldn't mind seeing me take it into another sculpting software that's a little bit more powerful, and maybe add all that extra detail into it. I mean, I don't mind. I still love ZBrush. It's been a long time since I've used it, but having access to it's kind of like just made me sit and think about it for a sec. Like, is it something that my audience would want to see? Because I know that primarily my audience consists of people that either just find this stuff fascinating to look at, or people that are genuinely interested in Nomad sculpt. So what I don't want to do is start, to a group of fans that have been following my work because it's Nomad work. I don't want to start upsetting them by just start doing, working for the enemy, working on the ZBrush. On ZBrush software is kind of like working for the enemy, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, let me know what you think. It's something I wouldn't mind doing. I do enjoy ZBrush. It's not something I use often, so it'd be cool to have a play around with it at least. But yeah, you know, it's just something that I could do, I guess, if people were more interested in seeing this, a sculpt like this finished to a higher degree or a higher standard, you know. Because I think I can still vertex paint it in here and send it over to ZBrush and then just add the extra details on it. And I'm not sure how that would end up looking. But it's, you know, it's something I could look into, I guess, if it's something that you guys would want to see. Yeah, let me know, because yeah, I do enjoy ZBrush, and yeah, I think that because it's not a true 3D model that you're working on, it's like a 2.5D thing. I don't know the actual details of it, but I know that Nomad is an actual 3D model, which is why I think it's, you know, I've seen people get like 1 million points on here. I don't know, maybe more than that, but like with something like ZBrush, you can have several 100 million points and it wouldn't make a jot of difference to the model. So yeah, I think that in terms of adding detail to it, there's a lot more scope in something like ZBrush. But guys, let me know. I don't mind. I'll finish the model in Nomad to the best of my abilities with that software. But yeah, if it's something you want to see me do, like push the model further, then that's just kind of one of the realities of it. If you're a Nomad fan, which I am, it's kind of just one of the realities you have to accept, that you're not really going to get to that stage in Nomad, at least not yet. So yeah, let me know what you think. I don't mind doing it. I would quite enjoy having a tinker around with ZBrush again, but you know, it's not the end of the world if not. I could do anything else with it, because it's a legit piece of software. You know, it's not. I don't pirate any of this stuff because, you know, I don't want to get in any trouble for it. So having got myself a legitimate copy of ZBrush is just kind of cool, and I'm looking for ways to actually maybe use it. So what we did there was with the boots, I thought about sculpting up the bottom of the shoe as part of the extraction, but I kind of just realised how difficult that was going to be to get a flat edge and a flat surface under the shoe. So we brought in a sphere and we started sculpting it up from a sphere, and then I pose it. Once I duplicate it, flip it over so I've got a left and a right foot. Then I basically join it. I don't merge it, I join it, and then I start posing the foot from the sculpted high heel boot that I sort of just sculpted there. Then I attach that to the actual knee-high boots that she wears. And then we start sculpting it up. Because it's a leather shoe, the material is quite thick, so this went reasonably quicker than sculpting the clothing at the top and stuff like that, because there was just less creases to worry about. The creases were more substantial and just sort of easier to quickly get done in broad strokes, and then you know, tweak it with the crease tool, you know, reversing the crease tool so that I could have a ridge instead of a dip. But yeah, you know, adding the laces just using the tube tool. This is all, like, I think I've done this in other videos as well, so anybody that's followed any of my work from earlier on in the channel, you'd probably have seen me do this a few times anyway. I think I even did the laces thing here with my Minions sculpt that I did, my Wolverine and Deadpool as Minions. So yeah, there's a bunch of videos you could look at to see how I've done some of this stuff, because my process hasn't really changed an awful lot. It's just I'm trying to push myself in terms of detail, and specifically I should say, around the anatomy of the models and of the actual, like, the character, rather than the clothing, you know, because yeah, anatomy is one of the things that interests me. It's what got me back onto sculpting, just figuring out anatomy and stuff like that. So yeah, as much as I don't mind sculpting the clothing, to me the enjoyable part is sculpting the body and sculpting the anatomy. You know, the clothing is just something I look at as I've got to do, because YouTube's not going to let me put a bunch of, like, nude models on there just and I'll never get the channel monetized if they're all just nude models, you know. So but yeah, clothing's just something that I kind of just do. I'm not a massive fan of sculpting it. It's, you know, like I said, the fun part to me and the enjoyable part is sculpting the anatomy and understanding how the muscles are behaving under the skin when it's posed differently and stuff like that. That's the stuff I really enjoy. But you know, the clothing always turns out fine. I'm not against it. I'm not really a humongous fan of it, but I'm not against it. I realise it has to be done. Because if everyone in the world was nude, it would be kind of weird. I know it would make me uncomfortable. But yeah, you know, we're moving on to the other side again, picking from where our creases come from. behind the knee there particularly as well, look, and so you can see where the creases are pulling away from the actual kneecap where she's bent the thigh. And then yeah, here we go, adding that last bit of like the last bit of fat from underneath the strap, and then I think that's pretty much where the video ends there. So I'm probably gonna, like I said, do another video where I'm actually gonna add the detail and then do a paint job on it, but you know, that'll just be when I can get to it, hopefully soon. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. And yeah, thank you for sticking around and watching it. I guess I'll let these last couple of images play out and then you can watch the turnaround without me bothering you. And yeah, like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.